Do you remember the day you became Muslim?
Yes, I remember the day I became Muslim. I went to Friday prayer, to a khutbah, and after that I went to ask the Imam a question about Islam because I've been doing research about Islam. And he answered my question, and then kind of the discussion went on and on and on, and it came to, so why aren't you Muslim if you believe this and this and this? Then what are you waiting for? So I ended up converting there. I took my shahada, and Alhamdulillah.
So you didn't wake up that morning thinking I'm going to become a Muslim today.
Not at all.
You just said I have a couple questions to ask. Yeah. What did it surprise you when you went in for the khutbah to listen and you left as a Muslim?
Yes, I was very surprised, shocked, but when I look back on it, I'm really happy that I took this step because it is a big step that's really hard to decide. It's hard to wake up and say, today I'm going to convert, like this is it, I'm going to change my life. So I'm glad that I did take that step that day. I felt really good leaving, knowing that now I can take the next steps to becoming a better Muslim and learning prayer and learning fasting and all the next steps.
How long had you been researching Islam before you reverted that day?
That's a hard question. I learned little bits and pieces. I took a course at the university a few years ago, and it was, I guess, a few years before the point when I became Muslim, and it was about comparative religion. So I did touch on Islam there, and I felt that it was a really nice religion. I remember talking about it but saying it's way too strict for me. It's for other people, but it's a beautiful religion. And at that point in my life, when I converted, I was looking for something. Like I did feel the need that I wanted to change my life. And so I took an Islamic course at the university with Jamal Badawi. And so there I was asking questions, I was learning so much about it. I started to surround myself with other Muslims, asking them lots of questions, and that was probably in the summer. I converted in November, I think, and it was around the summer that I really started asking questions, surrounding myself with Muslims, started going to the Friday khutbahs, and I guess it was only a few months before I took the step.
Tell me how your relationship with your mother has changed since you've embraced Islam.
Well, before I had not so close a relationship with my mom. Anything she would ask me to do, I would kind of get an attitude and think that I don't have to do anything for her, and just like any typical teenager, I guess. But then when I converted to Islam, or when I started looking into Islam, I learned that we're supposed to treat our mothers with respect, and she's the most important person to treat with respect. And you get a lot of reward for helping your mother, treating her well, and you just realize that how much she went through to raise you, and how you should do the same for her. You should help, I mean, not raise her, but you should help, like, take care of her. And I mean, nobody wants to be doing everything in the house alone. Like, before I wouldn't clean anything, I wouldn't cook anything. I was a terrible teenager, I guess, but now I really realize, like, hey, she's doing that by herself. That's terrible. Like, I should help her, and it's probably makes her feel so much better now that I'm helping, and it's made us a lot closer. It's brought us a lot closer. Now she's like one of my best friends, and she comes to events and everything. So Alhamdulillah.
You told me a story about that your mother, one of her friends was interested, or she was having some doubts about her faith, and your mother had some advice for her. Can you explain to me about that?
Yeah. My mom's not Muslim, and she's not really at the point where she's looking to become Muslim, but she is reading a lot about Islam, and through her readings, I think she's become quite sympathetic to Islam and realizes the goodness that's in it. So when she was talking to one of her friends the other day, her friend had taken a Bible studies course she's Christian and she wanted to learn more about her own religion. So after completing the course, she realized that in the Bible, I'm not sure because I didn't study Christianity, but this is just what she was saying, that in the Bible, the women aren't treated so well, or they're not presented to have many rights, or she didn't like the way that women were portrayed in the Bible, basically, and that was one of the reasons she stopped going to church after taking the Bible studies course, which should be the other way around, that when you study your religion, then you become more into the faith and have more faith. But my mom, her response to that was to recommend that she start reading the Quran. Even though my mom is not really reading the Quran, but when you read about Islam, like, it comes out. She pointed out that in the Quran, women are revered, respected. Islam gave women their rights. She had all this to say. So I was really surprised.
Since, you started your new journey in the faith, you've obviously gone through some changes. One of them being you're wearing the hijab. How has that been for you, and that change? And what have you experienced from other people that have seen you undergo that change, and maybe some comments they've made, questions, or even any sort of objections anybody's had, anything at all?
I started wearing the hijab about a year and a half ago, I think, and since I've been Muslim for 3 years, it was about a year and a half after I converted. And my friends, like, I didn't just put it on one day. I mean, first it was wearing looser clothing, then it was covering my arms and covering to here, and basically all that needed to finish was my head. So they were kind of prepared for it in that sense. And but they haven't really said too much about it. The only comments that I get are sometimes that I might look frumpy, or you could look better if you styled it this way, or things like that. But nobody's given me any real problems with it. And my mom as well, she's been quite supportive, and she called me a flying nun at first from a television show that I've never seen. And she'd make comments like, well, you could look better without it, or why are you wearing it? But she never gave me any real, any huge problem about it. And now even she's picking hijabs out for me, giving them to me. She's adjusting my hijab if it's showing like my neck or something here. She'll fix it for me, which I think says a lot about how she supports me wearing it, even though she might not prefer that I wear it, but she is supporting me. So.
How does it make you feel now that you look back at both ways?
Well, it definitely protects you. I feel like my relationships, like before I would mingle at the university and no problem, but now I'm really conscious of that, and I think other people are conscious of the fact that I'm wearing hijab, so when a guy approaches me, he won't approach me in the same way that he would have before, so I've definitely noticed a difference with that, which is the part of the point. Like, I was worried how people would react to me about getting a job in the airport. I haven't had any problems. Alhamdulillah. Nobody said anything to me. My work reacted well. Like, I was scared to ask them, can I pray? I was scared to put the hijab without asking them. I was scared what my coworkers would say. And I was so supported there, alhamdulillah. One of the people that I was worried about, she came to me the day that I wore it, and I didn't tell anyone that I was going to wear it, I just wore it. And she came, and she was like, I'm so proud of you, it looks so nice on you. And even my supervisor came and said, wow, it looks really nice on you. I had so much support, alhamdulillah.
Have you been taking any advantage of any offerings that the center has to offer? And if so, what are they? And can you speak a little bit about those things?
When I first converted to Islam, there was a course at the center for converts to Islam, or reverts, teaching new Muslims. And basically we would go in and ask all of our questions, and it was really good because everyone was in the same position. We were all going through the same, it's like a support group kind of, with a guide teacher. And And I'm still friends with those people, so it was really good to go ahead, because I wouldn't have met the new Muslims otherwise. It really brought us together, and we asked all questions that you can imagine, and it was really good resource for us in the beginning, teaching us how to pray, teaching us how to deal with our families, because it's a shock for our families. Can't eat pork, basic things that some people might not realize that a new Muslim needs to know and needs to be told. And then later on, I decided to start taking Arabic classes, which is also offered at the CID, and they've been really great. They have a really good teacher, Muhammad Yafa, and he's knowledgeable about Islam, about the Quran. He's studied Arabic, the language, and he's also studied linguistics and can apply them. He's really good, mashallah, and a really strong resource that we have here for teaching. I've met other people who are interested in Islam, and I just remember how I felt at that time. And I remember how nice people were with me, so I try and do the same, because I know it had a big influence on me. It's really nice to see the people coming, and I hope that we can continue to give them the support that I had at the time.
Towards that summer, when you were reinvesting, what struck you about Islam that you said, there's something interesting here? What was it in particular, or a couple of things? What when you started reading, what appealed to you?
I was at a point in my life when I felt like there was no morals in this society, and just everything seemed to be reinforcing that, and I was just wondering, what is the point of life if everyone is just so greedy, take, be independent, and it was just frustrating and kind of discouraging. And then when I started reading about Islam, I realized that life isn't like that. Life is like sharing, and there's a purpose to living. There's a purpose to worship our Creator, that we were created. There are guidelines for living, and the reason that you should be good and not greedy or not taking advantage of others is because there's an afterlife, and you're going to be accountable for that. And it seemed to just make perfect sense for the time of my life that I was in. And then from there, I learned about the miracles that are in the Quran and other things like that help support it. But that was basically what called me to Islam.
Any advice for people out there who may be a little lost and searching and hurting? And there's a lot out there, isn't there? Some don't even know they're hurting. Some know they're hurting, but don't even know the first, step of, maybe there's another way, because all they see is just the physical. You can get this, buy this, do this. It'll make you feel better, and life goes on. And maybe somebody's watching you right now as a person that's grown up here. That now you've made a change in how it's affected you. What advice do you have for someone that may be watching you that is feeling like they just don't get it? What's going on?
Basically, I just started reading about different religions, and even reading different religions, then you realize which one's for you, and I think that would be Islam, obviously, but I think in reading about other religions, I realized how strong Islam is. And also someone had given me the advice, I wasn't even sure if I believed in God before. I was really questioning everything, but they said if you have a small belief in God, then just pray to God to guide you. And this was before I was interested in Islam. I mean, if anyone has any belief in a Creator, just pray in whatever way and ask for guidance, and then that's how you can be guided to the truth. That's what the advice was given to me, and as I was praying, I would pray all the time, and then I found myself learning more and more and more about Islam. Alhamdulillah. Well, I know it's a struggle, like when you become a Muslim, it's not just easy after that. That's when the true tests that's when the true test starts. And we're always going to be tested on our faith, so you just have to be strong and keep praying and asking for guidance. Surround yourself with good people who are knowledgeable about Islam, because it can also be really confusing when someone who says that they're Muslim tells you one thing and someone who says that they're Muslim tells you another thing. So just make sure that you're going to the right people, whether it be an imam or someone at the mosque, because having Muslim friends doesn't necessarily mean that they know how to advise you.
That may be one of the benefits of becoming a Muslim. Born Canadian, become a Muslim, you can learn it from, sort of do your own investigation. You don't just learn it from the way your father practices or your mother practices. You dig out the way. Yeah.
And sometimes it can be confusing because you see other Muslims, like you want the easy path. Like when you convert to Islam, you think, okay, I converted, I'm going to pray, but I'll never wear hijab, or I'll be one of those Muslims, like, look at all these women who are strong in their belief and they don't wear hijab, or I keep using the hijab as an example, but you know what I mean. There's other things, like they go to parties or something, but they still pray, so I want to be like, I can be like them, but then you realize that you shouldn't take Islam from how people act, because it doesn't mean that it's correct. Like, that's how I started, is, oh, I'll fit so much better, I'll fit in so much better if I can take this moderate path. But then as I read and learned, then you realize that, no, I have to take this next step, because if you really want to submit in Islam, then you have to do as we're supposed to. So,
do you find when you submit, you say sometimes it's hard, but then you do, what benefits do you receive from submitting in your life? What does it do for you as a person, submitting to your Creator?
Things become easier. Like, I find my life is so much less dramatic now. Like, it's, I mean, it's not always easy, but you do get a lot of peace when you know you've made a good decision, and so you feel stronger about yourself, you feel happier, you feel more at peace in knowing that you're doing the right thing, and inshallah you get reward from that.
How does Islam give you hope?
Well, Islam makes me feel more positive about life in general, knowing that there's a purpose. It gives me hope that we can work together as a community and make changes in the things that I grew up finding wrong about the society. I hope that we can have a good influence for our children growing up.
How are we supposed to deal with people that, are Christian friends and people that don't have the same religious beliefs that we do?
Well, we're supposed to respect everyone. I think there's even a surah about respecting the Surah Al-Kafirun. It says, to you your religion, to me mine. Yeah. Sure. So we're supposed to keep good relations with people. Yeah, we're supposed to deal with everyone. As long as they don't tell us to do something against Islam, then we should have respect. And I just think, like, if people had treated me bad, I never would have converted to Islam, like if all the Muslims had rejected. That's one of the things that my mom really supports, is she sees the change in me, and she's so happy with it. She can, like, night and day. It's like the overall change was definitely worth it, and she's really happy, and she defends it with other people. She comes to Islamic events. She always has wonderful things to say about the women that she meets at the events. So, yeah. So we have to, like, you never know who's going to become a Muslim. Even people who completely reject Islam, like, if you have patience with them, they can become Muslims.